What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Storyseller Jet with another episode of the Dot So Fire Talk Show. And today we have a fire show. And we have my men here, Luigi in the house. Let's go.
Yes, blessed. Thank you for having me, my friend. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. I've been looking forward to having you on the show since we've connected. I think today is going to be fire.
I believe so as well.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things. We're going to be talking about mindset.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about prosperity. We're going to be talking about faith.
Yes.
Which is that's one of my favorite subjects.
Awesome.
We're going to talk about all the amazing businesses that you've built and, your journey as well. So it's going to be fire. So for anybody that is just tuning in right now, if you want to learn how to prosper in life using faith and, it's going to be great. And also, please feel free to drop in your question, too, as we go through the talk show. So, Luigi, such a pleasure having you here, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to start by doing a quick introduction of who you are, and then we're going to delve into the entrepreneur journey, the origin story.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's shoot
So,
away.
who is Luigi?
Who is Luigi? Well, Luigi is first, a man of God, a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a high-spirited person, someone that's very optimistic, someone that just lives with unwaveringly faith, and I believe that God has carried me through life, through many different journeys, through many different things that I've been able to experience, that today where I stand, I feel, more prepared and equipped, right, to be that voice that God has always called me to be. And that's why my message right now is about impacting 1 billion people with the prosperity and faith mindset. And,
Boom.
and it's something that churches for many, many years try to separate the two, right? Because they didn't want you to be too ambitious, and I really believe that that's something that we need to, that religious dogma needs to be removed. And people need to understand that everything that is in your heart, everything that you desire, God put it there. So, and he expects us and demands of us to prosper. Because as we prosper, you can bless. Without anything that you to give, what do you have?
Exactly.
Right? So to me, it's my message to transform people's lives for just to live a better life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you prosper, you can, help the people in the back of the line. You can
100%.
obviously give back to the church. You can, help, the poor.
Right.
You can do so much
Yes.
more. So again, if you don't have anything, you don't have anything to share.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
I'm excited for this conversation today. It's going to be awesome. On a side note, I've never thought of anybody that could, outglasses me.
I have a few. I have a collection. I actually, it's one of the things that I love as accessories as well. So I always told you, we know you by the guy with the red glasses. So glasses is a very important part of fashion, I believe. And if we have to wear them as we get older because we start to lose a little bit of the vision, then, might as well look at as hot as possible, right?
100%. Mine are even cooler because I can stick my finger in there and touch my eyes,
You have
right?
no lenses like me, but it's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of my favorite part of the show is to talk about the come up.
Yes.
And for some people, they might have a comeback as
Yes.
well. So share a little bit about the entrepreneur journey, some of the greatest successes that you've had, and also some of the failures that you've had as well. So want to, start by delving into that story right now. So tell me a little bit about the come up.
Well, come up. So I always like to include my wife, in everything that I do because she's been the only partner that I've had since the beginning. So we met 25 years ago. And approximately around that time, we also started our entrepreneur journey, at least me, for the most part. She was still she was still in college studying to be an architect. But back then I started as a loan officer in a mortgage company. And that grew very, very quickly to me having my own mortgage company. I like to call those days the Wolf of Wall Street days because there were days that just money was coming too easy. And I believe that with a young mind, things that come too easy, you don't have the respect for it, right, that you should. And obviously, like any market, everything had to reconcile and fix itself. And we had the downfall. And obviously, when you over leverage yourself and you have so much debt, at that point, I was like 28 years old and I had over $3 million, $4 million in debt, you know, with rental properties that I had that people weren't paying me rent because they lost their jobs, right? So
Yeah.
when the crisis hit, it hit everybody. So that caused me to have to file for bankruptcy, foreclosures. I mean, it was crazy. It was, you know, the come up, having everything you wanted, thinking you're living your dream life, buying properties, you know, going to trips, spending money on the best meals, and losing it all and having to rebuild that. And to me, that was the greatest gift God could have ever, you know, given me personally, because it allowed me to really value money and understand what money needs to be used for, you know, and that helped me to just rebuild with a different mindset. And my wife at that time was graduating from being, you know, architecture school. She got her architecture degree, and we're like, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I already know how to build businesses, you know, so let's start from scratch. And we built PG Studio. That was in 2005. And from then we started designing. She started designing high-end homes. I started at the same time learning about solar energy. So we created a solar department to our company as well, and adding green technology to all the designs that we were doing. Innovation, nobody was doing it. I was like that crazy tree hugger guy trying to sell solar. But back then, it just made complete sense to me that was the future. And thank God it has, you know, worked very well on our favor. From then, you know, my wife has gone into doing hotels and clinics. And right now we're focusing on the high-end garage here in Tampa, the Motor Enclave. And that's how we got involved with, you know, all the exotic cars and everything that we're involved in today. But it's been a fun journey. You know, God has allowed us to fail many times, you know, but at the same time, I always tell people it's not a loss. It's a learn lesson on what not to do, what doesn't work, and how you can move forward, right? And for me right now, I pinch myself because I tell everybody that I'm dreaming, and, you know, I dream my life and I live my life, you know, and it's almost like a painter that dreams their painting and then paints their painting. Mm-hmm. I'm literally designing my dream life, you know, with God as a co-creator. And my message is telling people every day that, listen, God has put dreams and gifts that he's given you for you to really manifest your true desires. But until you put unwaveringly faith behind that and understand what that is, you're never going to achieve it. You're going to live a mediocre life, always trying to paint a picture that's not your picture to paint.
Absolutely. Boom. Man, I feel like this was such a great intro. Like, we can just like leave the talk show right now, and it's already successful to me, because one of my goal is first to inspire people. If we can inspire one person today,
amen. That's all that matters.
All that matters. Like, and just sharing what you just shared over here is already like a pact of value.
Thank you.
Over here. Did you know that I had my start as in the loan?
No.
As well?
No. Really?
So I was a financial analyst.
Okay.
I worked there for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I did a bunch of different loans, like 504 loans, like 166, bond financing, and doing all of the other stuff. So I graduated with a finance and accounting degree.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So when you were saying that, that took me back.
Yeah, man. I did, you know, I was a loan officer, did the mortgage business for about 4 or 5 years. And then we've always dabbled in real estate. You know, we still do investments. We have, you know, properties that we rent out still. And, you know, real estate's always going to be a big part of what we do. But definitely, I think that real estate is the best school that you can have when it comes to business in every way.
Yeah. So first question for, as we just shared that, and I want to kind of go a little bit deeper onto that. When you hit rock bottom, what was the biggest lesson that you think that God taught you during that whole process of filing for bankruptcy?
And, you know, again, I really believe that wisdom is one of the key things that I ask God for every single day, because living life, you know, you can get caught up with all the smoke and mirrors and all the crap and all the luxuries and all the things. And as a young person, you know, me coming from a single mom home, lower middle class, being able to achieve a certain amount of wealth or, you know, a certain amount of income that was only a dream. But when you have it that young and you still haven't learned the maturity or the wisdom to sustain wealth, wealth comes and goes. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned was literally, you know, misused, you know, blessings will go away and not come back. But the moment you know how to sow a seed righteously, the right way, that's going to grow. And that's going to literally start giving you the life that you are desiring, that you are, working towards. But again, I really believe that it is a tool. Money is a tool. And that's what I learned. The biggest lesson was, man, and this is not given to everybody, because I see that I was given a gift that I was able to gain wealth and learn it and get money. And in everything that I've done in my life, God has always prospered me. And I've seen that as a gift, but a misused gift can become a burden, right? And can become something that becomes sinful. And I think that that's what happened to me. I was just abusing the blessing, right? And a lot of people filed bankruptcy. A lot of people went through a lot of heartaches in 2008, 2009. I wasn't, the only one. But I really believe that had I had maturity, or the maturity that I have today, it would have never happened to me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that it happened, because, again, it gave me the biggest lesson to, okay, so I have some business experience. My wife now has a degree that we can build a business together and start from scratch. And it was the biggest blessing, because her and I being able to do that has just given us the biggest blessing in our lives, to building a great relationship, a great partnership, a great family, a great foundation, and now being a blessing to as many people as we can be.
Yeah. So a lot of people out there might be facing bankruptcy, or they might be facing those types of hardship, and they might be thinking that life is over. What advice would you give to those people, for somebody that has experienced all of it and gained it all back?
Again, it has to do with mindset. You really have to start looking within yourself, and again, the desires of your heart. What are the things that you really want to achieve in life? And I believe that God sometimes brings circumstances in your life to make you to really start to think and dig deeply. Sometimes we're living, again, the wrong life. We're doing the wrong things. Sometimes heartache has to happen for you to realize that you're going down the wrong path. But when people have to start all over, what a beautiful thing to say that you can start all over. That you can literally say, listen, let's put this in the past, because that's the past. Let's put all that to the end, to the side, and let's build from scratch. Let's start from day one. It's a clean canvas. So it's a hopeful. Again, some people can dread it because they feel like they lost something. But at the same time, you can change that view and that perception and say, well, now it's time for me to gain everything the correct way. And you have a clean canvas to now paint and design your life that you really want to live. So I really believe that, as long as you have God in your heart, and you have faith and understanding that you can sustain anything, you'll be good.
Awesome. You touched on something very important, and I would like to expand on that, which is the desires of your heart.
Yes.
And I know, like, when the desires of your heart aligns with God's desires, there's
Amen.
nothing you can't accomplish.
Yes.
Can you touch on that for me?
Yes.
And like, how do you make sure that you align the desires of your heart to be the desires of God's?
And I love that question, because it's truly, to me, it's identity. Right? And it's trying to identify who you are and what are the things that God has gifted you to do and be. And when you start to sit back and say, okay, who am I? And I know that I'm a creation of God, and I'm created in His image. And there's dreams in my heart that maybe society, my family, people have told me that that's not attainable. That's not for us. Well, I want you to understand that God wants you to be prosperous. God wants you to be successful. If I serve God and God's my king, and I'm a son of a living God, I'm a prince. I'm a king on this earth. I'm going to dress like a king. I'm going to act like a king. I'm going to live like a king. I'm going to be prosperous, because that's what God demands of us. There's so many parables in the Bible that we can go and talk about, where God demands of us to use our talents, to use our gifts, because if you don't, everything will be taken away from you. So it's important to me that you align yourself with your true heart's desires into what are the things that I'm good at? What are the things that I desire? What is the dream life? I teach people about vision boards, because sometimes it's hard for you to articulate what it is that you really want. But let's put pictures behind it. Let's create a power picture book, and let's create, what do you want to be when it comes to health? What do you want it to be when it comes to your money situation? What do you want it to be in the house that you want to live in? What is the kind of cars you want to drive in? Let's start to build that dream life of yours, for you to start to identify the things that you really do desire. Don't step back and don't allow society or anybody to tell you that you can't have something. You can have anything you desire. And I'm a proven fact of that you can design your life and you can take steps every single day, because one of the things I want you to understand that it's not just painting the picture. God will give you the opportunity to attain everything in those pictures. He will bring the right connections. He will bring the right opportunities. Now it's up to you to take the step of faith. If you don't take the step of faith, you're going to sit back and just live a mediocre life the rest of your life saying, I wish I could have. I wish I could be there. I wish I could have that. I wish I could drive that car. No, stop wishing and start acting, and you will see that God will start helping you manifest your dream life.
Mic drop. Let's go. That was awesome. That was really well said. So a lot of people, they think I cannot lead a prosperous life with a faith-driven life. They think that, it's either or, that, God doesn't like, honor getting rich or something like that. Why is that a misconception?
I believe that in the Bible, there's many places where we talk about meekness, we talk about humility, but we start to misconstrue of what those words actually mean. And it's about meekness of heart and attitude. All right. Jesus Christ, when he picked his disciples, I want you guys to understand that the disciples were all in that era, all men of stature, of success, of wealth. There are people that are business owners. These were leaders, right? That he now brought into a group to continue, his mission in life, right? We all have that. We all have those gifts. We all are called to be kings on this earth. We're all called to be prosperous, to be successful. Anything that he gives us, it's for us to really expand on. We're not supposed to fall back and to decree and to hold back. We're supposed to be givers. The more you give, the more you're going to receive. It's the law of life. So the reason people aren't living prosperous lives is because of that, because they've misconstrued that, if I have a lot, I'm not going to be seen as a humble person or as a godly person. No, I just said earlier that if I serve a king and I'm a son of a king, how is it that I'm supposed to act? How is it I'm supposed to walk? How is it I'm supposed to dress? I mean, if I have, the kingdom at my hand, I shall walk like a prosperous, successful person every day of my life. Now, is every day going to be perfect? No. Is there going to be some days that you lose? Yes. But prosperity is a mindset. Prosperity is that no matter what, every single day, I'm going to prosper. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to either learn or win. There's no losing. It's learning and winning, and you keep on moving forward. And that mindset starts to transform a paradigm shift. And once you shift that paradigm, you start to walk in that faith and believe in that faith and become that person and be that person. And as you do that, God will prosper in you and bless everything you touch. And that's a guarantee.
How many mic drops are we going to have today?
Many God puts in my heart, man.
There you go, man. This is so good. This is so awesome. So earlier you mentioned that obviously the entrepreneur journey is full of ups and downs.
Yes.
You faced, I don't know if that was your first one in 2008 and 2009 where you hit rock bottom with bankruptcy and had to file bankruptcy. What are some other moments that weren't going so well for you, and how did you come out of those?
An entrepreneurial journey is exactly that. It's a journey, and there's no straight line. There's ups and downs. There's challenges that we come across every single day. And I believe that to become better, we need to go through challenges, and understanding how we go through those challenges. Now God can trust you with more and more responsibility and more money and more wealth and more abundance. It's all levels, right? And I really believe that we just have to have the grit to just really achieve anything that that you can achieve. So for me, everything in life has always been levels and levels and levels. And it's always been my faith and knowing that those challenges that I'm facing right now, in other words, I've had times that I can't even pay payroll. Mm-hmm. And God, how is it that next Friday I'm going to cover, $40,000 in expenses and I barely have $20,000 in the bank? I've been in that situation many, many times. and God has never failed me once. And again, it's having that grit, that strength, that unwaveringly faith to know that, listen, I've been put in this position, and I know that God is prospering me, and I know that God has a mission in my life, and I know God has never failed me and will never fail me. The moment I start doubting God is when things start going down. So we can look at circumstances today and make that the judge of what I can achieve, and sit back and be like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm messed up. I need to go tell my employees that I got to let go of half of them because next week I don't have the money to take care of them. I don't have the income that I can see right now. Like, no, sit back, have faith, relax. 2 days later, 2 big contracts came in, and I can tell you this has happened 5-6 times in the last decade where I've really been to the point that I'm like, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to take care of everything? And God always, in the nick of time, has never, ever, ever, ever failed me. We've always made it through. We've always had what we needed at the time that we needed. So
Yeah.
It's faith, man. Unwaveringly faith.
I think faith is the most important thing that anybody can have right now. Like faith, incredible. But
Understand what faith is. All right?
I guess I'll ask you that question. What is faith to
All
you?
right. So people misconstrued hope for faith. All right. Hopeful thinking says it might happen. It can happen for me. And I hope it happens for me. Faith says, I know it's going to happen. It is happening for me. I am blessed. I am highly favored. It is done. Plain and simple. You can't unwaver. You can't have doubt or fear and have faith at the same time. It can't habitat in the same place. They can't cohabitat together. So it's either you're walking in faith or you're walking in fear. Which one are you walking in?
Boom. One of my favorite, my favorite Bible verse, it's not, different from any other people's Bible verses. Mine used to be Jeremiah 29:11,
Right.
Porque yo sé los pensamientos que tengo sobre vosotros, for I know the path that I think toward you. You guys probably know that verse. But very recently, Myron Golden was chatting and kind of was teaching about faith.
Yeah.
And the Bible verse that he talked about is there is a dad, his daughter's dying, and Jesus was going to be going to see that daughter. And there's a bunch of people that are stopping him on his way to go heal that daughter.
Yep.
And then because Jesus was taking too long, the daughter died. Mm-hmm. And then, for us, this is a very definitive thing. It's like, hey, the girl passed away. There's nothing else you can do. And then the dad came and said, Jesus, don't worry about it anymore. Our daughter has passed away. And Jesus looked back to the daughter and says, to the dad and says, fear not, only believe.
That's right.
Fear not, only believe.
That's right.
So that's what you just described. It's either both words are in there, faith and also fear.
Belief.
Do not fear, only believe.
That's it.
And this is something that is definitive.
100%.
And obviously, because the dad had the faith, God was able to revive the daughter. Right. And all the people that did not have faith, when God said that inside of the room, he kicked them out.
That's right.
Because they didn't have the faith
That's
to
right.
kind of achieve that.
Well, and God was creating the right environment too. Why do I want all these doubters here? I want only the believers and the people that have faith. That's how life comes. Mm-hmm. So it's almost understanding, what Jesus was trying to remove out the way as well. And it's teaching us what unwaveringly faith is. Because it's not just Lazarus, he brought also the little girl back to life as well. And it's because also, and this is something that I've been, talking about lately, we all can operate on the fruits of the Spirit. We can all operate with God's power. I know it's hard for us to believe sometimes, to say that we have the power to raise people from the dead as well. And like anything that's dead, you have the power to give it life. Whether it's your business, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business relationship, whatever it is, you can give it life. Faith can remove mountains, man.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of people are trying to remove faith from their business. They want to keep those, completely separate. They don't want other people to, I guess, judge them. What advice would you give to those people that want to, separate their faith and their business?
What message can I give them? Well, I'll tell you this. They need to have a introspect of themselves, because your business is a reflection of who you are. So if I'm choosing to remove God from my business, I'm removing God from my life as well. So if my business is a reflection of me, everything that I stand for, my business stands for as well. You can't have unevenness, right? It even says in the Bible, right? It can't be built on sand, right? So it can't be unwaverly. You can't have two thought processes going on. Either I'm believing in faith in my life and my family and my business, or I'm removing God for what? Because I have a personal relationship issue with God. That's something that I have to deal with, right? Removing God right now of your business is because you yourself are not walking in faith, or you're not in believing what you say you believe anymore. Right? So that's a vendetta that you have to deal with your own self, and let God deal with that. But and in the end days and whatever, people are talking about, they're talking about, listen, God is going to be removed of many things, because that's when the evil is going to start showing up. What's happening right now? You're seeing all these Epstein files and all these crazy things. I mean, there's so many things that are being revealed to the world lately that you can see the evil behind it. Even the people who were proclaiming God, they were walking evil. They were using God's name, but to do bad things. So what I'm saying is that the revelation is going to happen. People are going to start, removing their masks. For me, I'm going to always be faith driven. I'm always going to have God as the center of my business, my life, my family. And no matter what, I'm not going to waver from that. If you choose to waver from that, you suffer the consequences. I can see where God blesses and where God removes the blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned something over here that is kind of cool, and that takes me back to a conversation that I had with the number one branding agency here in the talk show, talking about identity. And, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Vega. He's here. Hey, what's up, Vega?
My boy Vega.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up,
shout
bro?
out. I think there is a puppy over there too, which is awesome. You talk about identity, and he talks a lot about that too. And
Yep.
there's I think if I remember correctly, there's 3 levels to that, so glad that you mentioned that. So you talk a lot about mindset.
Yes.
How important is mindset in growing a business?
Everything is mindset, and everything falls or stands on the leadership of your business. And to be a strong leader, you have to have a strong mindset. Understand that we just talked about all the challenges an entrepreneur goes through. There's so many people that unless you have a strong mindset, a strong belief system, a strong faith system and value system, you're going to fall for anything, right? And business is hard. How many businesses don't fail in the first year or in the first 5 years? So for you to sustain that year after year after year after year, it's building that faith muscle, building that muscle of wisdom and knowledge and growth. That's another thing. You have to continuously be learning, continuously be growing. No matter what business you're in, keep on going to seminars, keep on watching YouTube videos, keep on reading books that are related to your industry. Become the best at it. Literally, for us, it's like, how do you refine a gift? You have to keep on working it and working it and working it and working it, and by faith, that's how it keeps on growing as well. But you have to edify that gift. You have to work hard at what God's given you to be the best at, man, period.
Yeah. We are bombarded with a bunch of different things every day in, day out. Like people, when they wake up, first thing they look at their phone and doing all of that. And as soon as you do that, there's so many things on Facebook, Instagram, and all those places that will affect your mindset.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that you have a strong mindset and that you don't deviate from that?
What are you feeding yourself? And when I say feed, I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about what are you reading? What are the people you're listening to? What are the opinions you're allowing to really touch you and really transform you? What is the music you listen to? Listen, and I don't want to get too preachy here, but the devil was the minister of music for God. And he became all super holy and wanted to be God. But understand that the devil's gifting is music. So if there's any way that I believe that the devil's affecting our children today, our world today, is being impacted by the music you listen to. That is primarily, I believe, the number one source of people's mindset and energy being transformed. And you can listen to a gospel song and feel amazing. And then you can listen to, I don't know, a song that's just talking trash, and you can feel your energy drop down. And I always tell everybody, music is energy. Everything that you listen to is affecting you one way, shape, or form. So how do you maintain your faith is learn to what you're actually allowing in your life. What are you listening to? What are you speaking about? What are the conversations you're having? What are the books you're reading? All that affects who you are, who you become, and how you eventually, show up in life.
Yeah. I did not know that the devil was the
Minister of
the
music.
minister of music.
Yes.
That I did not know that.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that.
Yes. And that's powerful. And that the world needs to know that. That's
Yeah.
why music is so important. That's why, sometimes I'm very picky about the music that I allow even my children to listen to.
Yeah.
And it's hard because how do you put, a filter on everything that's surrounding the world? It's very hard, but it starts at home, and you just try to guide them and give them the best mindset. This is for your family, right? How do you protect your family from all the craziness out there?
Yeah.
And you have to start understanding what are the things that are influencing your life. And influence is everything you're allowing in through your ears, through your eyes, conversations.
Yeah. One thing I started doing recently, which obviously has been fantastic and actually really helped me set my day correctly. In the morning, I go up and basically get my kids ready for school. So when I go in their room, I took my phone, go to YouTube, and just like play worship music.
Amazing.
I've never done that in the past, but I started doing that maybe the past like 3 or 4 weeks.
Really?
And it's been fantastic. Like
That's
even like my
amazing.
daughters are like looking forward to that as well.
You're setting up the environment.
Yeah.
You're setting up the mood and the mood for the day. One of the things that's funny that you're just talking about parenting. I just saw something on Instagram about an exercise that a psychologist, a Christian psychologist, does with her children every morning, and is that, a gratitude journal, and the things that they're grateful for and the things they're grateful that are coming. And it just shifts their mind into having that hope expectancy of good things all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting good things to happen for me and to me. And that mindset, man, is really what we need to teach everybody, because we all need to come down to that childlike faith and look at life, as God has called us to look at life, and understand that life is beautiful. Life is wonderful, but it's what you make of it. What is your perception? Your children, your wife, your business, your family members, those are the things that they're all gifts. So what is your perception? You can see something as a negative thing, or you just shift that perception and let's look at the good things in life. And you're going to see that you're going to receive more and more of that.
Yeah. One thing that recently hit me, like, I guess like ton of breaks, like they said, is one thing I started doing too. And again, like, I don't know why I decided to do that, but I have a 2-year-old. I typically am the one that puts her to sleep. So about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I decided to pray with her before putting her to sleep. Before, like, for my oldest, I used to do that, and then I guess like stopped doing that,
Right.
because like when I transitioned to putting her to sleep, kind of
Right.
wasn't doing that for her. And then one night I wasn't feeling it. I was like, okay, well, let's just go to sleep, and just kind of doing that. And then she kind of like looked at me and just said, "Daddy, I want to pray." 2 years old, I didn't think that she would understand kind of what that is, but she was the one that was asking it. And to your point earlier about that, like, the things that we are instilling in our children are
They
going to
model
be,
everything.
they model everything, and
everything we do.
yeah,
Everything we do. So you're impacting her life right now, not just as being dad, but you're teaching her spirituality, right? And the connection with God and what that means. And she's already understanding and feeling it, that she's even requiring or asking you of it. you know. So it's a smack in our face. Our kids, you know, do that all the time. Like literally, when I'm like out of line or I know that I'm not, you know, doing things in a certain way, I really believe, man. My daughters has said stuff to me. My son has said something to me. I'm like, hey, you know, like wake up. You know what I mean? And God uses everything and everyone
Yeah.
to show you the light.
Absolutely. So this has been such a great conversation. We've talked a lot about faith and prosperity, which is fantastic. I feel like we could spend 5 days just talking about that.
Definitely.
So I want to talk a little bit about, like, you know, your business and obviously we can always come back with prosperity and faith inside of it as well. For the people that are watching this, can you share a little bit about you run a few businesses, obviously, PG Studio, PG Lux, and also like so many things. So let's start with, I guess, the main business that you guys are working on right now.
So our main business, our core business has always been PG Studio. PG Studio is architecture, interior design. We focus on high luxury design, whether it's, you know, condos, whether it's hotels, whether it's clinics. I mean, everything you could imagine, you know, our portfolio has done. We're thankful in the last 20 plus years of business, we've done everything from casinos to hotels to high luxury residences to low income residences to green homes. Like we've done it all. You know, we've been blessed in that aspect. So that's always been like our core business. Now focusing on the high end car luxury garages, which my wife has become like the queen, you know, at that business. Like there's really nobody that I believe is better than what she's doing. So, you know, shout out to her. We also have a solar company as well. And we have PG Lux. You know, PG Lux has been something we've been impacted. You know, we've impacted Tampa in a big way in the community. It's a high-end luxury concierge company focusing on exotic cars, on yachts, on jet planes, on the luxury lifestyle, right? Focusing primarily on the exotic cars here in Tampa. Everybody knows this, you know, because of the car shows and all the events that we're at, that we're always promoting. Together with Vega, we're about to do the brand social as well that's coming up in April. There's a lot of cool things that we've been able to do with PG Lux. It's a company that caters to luxury, obviously, because of what it is, but it's mostly about networking. We also have the compound. The compound is where we store the cars, and we do a lot of cool events there, a lot of networking events. We do private dinners, private parties, car shows. So, you know, our intention is how do we bring the community together? And our brand is always catering to the luxury market, you know, for the car enthusiasts or high-end real estate market. My wife is also the designer of the Aura penthouse with the new Aura residences as well. So we maintain a luxury branding per se, but obviously we connect with everybody. But our goal is to definitely just create connections in the community.
Yeah. Why did you decide to focus on the luxury market versus kind of being an all thing to all people?
You know, the riches are in the niches, like my wife would say. And our niche, because of the way she designs automatically, is always, you know, she was always a forward thinker. So 25 plus years ago, she was already designing homes that you're seeing built today, right? The high-end residences with all the cool, you know, waterfalls and features and the windows and that. Like she's been designing that for forever. So her taste is a very high-end taste. And when she was in college, she was interning for like the #1 architect in Miami, working in $20-30 million penthouses.
Wow,
so
incredible.
Her experience comes from luxury, from all the, you know, from the furniture manufacturers around the world to the tiles to everything you can imagine, just the top notch. That's what she's been building relationships with for the last 20 years. So it's created, our brand is known as a luxury brand, and it's created that whole perception of that we are a luxury brand, but we do everything. If my wife needs to design a $30,000, you know, home, she will, but our focus has always been primarily the luxury market. And we've been thankful for that because the luxury market is, you know, you want to make more money, you got to sell, you know, higher tickets, right? And to sell a higher ticket, where are you going to focus on? You can focus on the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes, which that's fine. Or you can focus on the $1 million packages, which is where we focus, you know, and we rather do 10, 15, 20 good projects a year than 200 low income projects. You know what I mean? So to us, it's just identifying your key avatar and go after that market.
Absolutely. So you do a lot of like luxury cars and like jets and stuff like that.
Yes.
What are some of the cars that you have in your fleet right now?
So we have a wide variety of cars. Like we have McLarens and Ferraris and Lambos, but we have, the Uruses, we have the Huracans, we have the Ferrari Romas. Now we have an F8 that's came on the fleet. We have a wide variety of all the luxury cars. So every BMW and Mercedes AMG version we have as well. All the top high-end SUVs. We now have black service as well. I mean, whatever you need. You want armed guard, to go pick you up and give you a good night, safe night with your partners, with your wife, whatever. We can have a black car go pick you up and take you, deliver you wherever you need to be, feel safe. Like we're literally offering a white glove concierge service for anybody in Tampa and the luxury market, right? Those that can afford it.
Yeah, absolutely. How did that business get started?
I always like to say it started selfishly. So thank God, we've gained success through other businesses, through PG Studio, through PG Solar as well. And I had set it as a goal of mine to own a Ferrari. And I put it as a goal on my vision board, a few years ago. And I was able to attain that goal, and I purchased a Ferrari. Once I purchased a Ferrari and I enjoyed the Ferrari for, a few months, I saw that I couldn't really enjoy it because I wanted my kids and my wife to be able to be in the car. So then I justified the purchase of a Urus because I wanted an SUV, but it had to be exotic, right? Once I got to that, I got bit by the bug and I wanted to buy more cars, but I'm a businessman. So I'm like, okay, before I'm going to go into more of these liabilities, let me figure out a way how to monetize this. I have a good friend of mine that owns a few exotic car rental companies. I asked him for the blueprint, understood how everything worked out. I said, let's try this in Tampa and see how it goes. Nobody in Tampa was really doing it to the way that I feel that we've been able to do it. And it's been a huge success. We launched with the Urus and the Roma first, and now we have over 22 cars in the fleet. It's been almost 2 years, and it's been the funnest business that I've ever, had the chance and opportunity to create because you're doing it with something that you're passionate about, right? So I'm passionate about cars. I love cars. You're in the luxury market. You're dealing with a luxury clientele. And inclusive, it goes hand in hand with our architecture and design firm where we're focusing right now on high-end luxury car garages. So, God has a funny way of working things out, but everything right now has just been a huge blessing, and the businesses have been able to complement each other and, again, make a huge impact in Tampa.
Absolutely. You've mentioned this a few times so far in the show, how important it is to create a vision board.
Without vision, my people perish, right?
Boom.
And I really believe that the greatest gift that God gave all of us is the gift of visualization. Is the gift that you can sit back, close your eyes, and create the movie of your dream. But understand that most people create that movie and they don't see themselves as the star of the movie. They're looking at the movie from the outside. You need to start creating that movie and being the star of your movie. And when I say that, most people don't have the vision to articulate, like I said earlier, to see what is that they want. So a vision board is so important because it allows you to really sit back and say, okay, what do I truly desire? And I tell people, really go deep into what it is that you really desire, because most people are going to put, I want the $1 million and I want the mansion and I want the cars. That's all fine and dandy. But let's go in deeper. The family of your dreams, the wife, the children. Like my wife and I named our children, years before they were even born. So you start to speak out in existence in faith what you want God to manifest in your life. And there's no better tool than a vision board that you can see daily and have an implanted picture there as to what it is that your heart desires. And I promise you, it is the craziest thing in the world. I tell people, test me on this. Create your vision board and keep on visualizing for that every morning and every night for 30 days. And tell me if opportunities, if money, if things don't just start showing up in your life that are going to help you manifest the things that are on that vision board. There's not one single person that I know yet that has told me that hasn't worked for them.
Yeah.
But you really have to do it. Make the exercise of doing it, and you'll see that it's just going to be awesome in your life.
Yeah.
So get a vision board if you don't have one.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you've added in your vision board that has already come to pass?
Everything but a G5. I promise. And I tell people this is something that is so crazy, but everything in my vision board, I can look at my vision boards in the last 10 years.
And share with me, like, what are some of those things?
Man, my family primarily, the picture of my family, the picture of my businesses, of having successful businesses, of working together with my wife, of my children going to the best schools, of us and the neighborhood we live in, the life that we carry, the trips that we take, those are things that I put in my vision board every year. Like the trips we want to take this year, the things that we would like to manifest. We want more income or more growth or more employees, whatever it is for our business. So we have different areas in our life. So you have your business, you have your spiritual life, you have your family life, right? You have your own things that you want as a person, where it is the exotic car or whether it is the exotic, travel, whatever it may be, or that you want to buy your mom a house, or there's certain, personal desires that we all want to achieve. Plan it on there. Put it on there. And I promise you're going to start seeing a road that's going to guide you to achieve all those things. In my life, from the cars that I own today to where we live today, to the family that I have, to the businesses that I have, all that was on my vision board first before it actually manifested. So because I believe so much in that, my family, we do vision board parties every year. And we tend to do it during Christmas season. So during Christmas season, we just did it right now with everybody in our team. So the whole family, we had the Christmas party and the Christmas dinner. And afterwards, we brought out magazines and glue and tape and everything you can imagine for every single person that left that night with their vision board.
Wow.
And we want to start creating more of those, and for the community. We even talked about creating a networking event where that's going to be part of the exercise for everybody that's there.
That's cool.
Because I really believe that most people talk about vision, but they don't even have really clear of what their vision really is. And that's going to help bring clarity.
Yeah. When is that event?
I'm going to create it. I'll let you guys know soon. And we'll make sure it's going to call it a vision board party, and we'll do it at the compound.
Let's go. That's going to be
All
fire.
right, yes, that's
going to be awesome. Well, we have like an event coming up. Let's briefly talk about that, and we can come back to the conversation. Yes. I have to, give, my boy Vega some shout out over here as well. I think it's April 9th. The Brain Social is going to
1920 Ybor.
Yes,
it's going to be a party.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
So for the people that do not know about the Brain Social, because I know you were involved in that, I'm involved in Vega as well. We're going to be hosting like a podcast, I guess like a podcast party over there. We're going to have like a pop-up podcast over there. So for the people that do not know what that is, can you quickly share what it is and why they would want to attend that event?
So I give mad props to Vega and Caesar, and for them, to really have the vision of just bringing entrepreneurs together, especially creators. Right now we're in the world of creation and creators. Right now it's all social media is new creators coming out daily, right? And creating new content and how they can create impact, and businesses around that. How can you monetize your content? And I really believe that this event, the Brand Social, is literally a place it's being created, an environment where you're going to be around all the top creators in Tampa, business owners, entrepreneurs, ways to really, create impactful relationships that can help your business and your brand go to the next level. This is what it's all going to be. You're going to have the top leaders and the top brands in all of Central Florida, all in one place. And I heard even like the TikTok, management team's going to be there. I mean, there's going to be so many great opportunities and so many opportunities for you to rub shoulders with industry leaders, with the movers and shakers that can literally help you go to the next level. So don't miss it.
Awesome. Well said. April 9th, 1920
Ybor. Don't miss it.
Let's go. It's going to be fire.
Yes.
So I know that you are a life and mindset coach. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you teach people as it relates to life and mindset?
Man, I think that we've gone, over a lot of the things that I teach. I don't try to complicate it because it's so simple, but yet people don't take the time to apply. Once they understand, how really easy it is to sit down and create a vision for yourself, to sit back and create a story, create your ideal movie, create, the life of your dreams. We can literally live the life by design. Design your life. How do you want to dress? How do you want to come and be and show up for this world? So I teach people on mindset first and foremost, because that's the things that we need to shift. We need to shift paradigms. We need to go from lack mentality to prosperity mentality, right? We need to start believing and start dreaming again. There's a lot of people that I've encountered that have lost that passion for life, that are just living their life tiptoeing safely to death. They're just doing whatever they think they need to do. They need to, get that paycheck, pay the bills. This is what life gave me. This is what I have to do till, I guess I die. No. Bring that spark back in life. Bring that life in life. Like, start to create the life of your dreams. And for many people, it seemed like just a far-fetched dream. But for those that have taken me up on my challenges, that have taken me up on the books I've given them to read, on the chores I've given them to do, on the things that started shifting their life and their mindset, like a vision board. That's a simple exercise, but it brings out so many things in you that I've seen people kind of fall back on, oh, I'm not going to put the mansion because I can't achieve that. Let me put something out small. No. This is what life has shown us. This is why the exercise is so good, because it will even show you how you're falling short even your own dreams, because you yourself are bringing yourself down.
Yeah.
So if you start to understanding, again, I'm a child of a living God. I am blessed. I am highly favored. I am prosperous. I am successful. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Then what are you fearing? What are you doubting? Start to create the life of your dream. So what I teach is that. Create the life of your dreams, and I will teach you steps on how to do that.
Boom. Fire. You just said something over there, and I'm curious to see if you actually do that. But do you have a morning affirmation that you basically say to yourself every time?
Yes. I kind of maybe don't want to say it here too loud, but the first thing I say, and it's funny, one of my coaches taught me this, is like, man, you open your eyes and say, I am the effing man. I am the effing man. I'm not going to say the word, but you guys can only analyze what I said. And I can do all things. And I am the pimp. And I am great. And if you start telling yourself this from the moment you wake up, you'll start to see how things in life start to show up for you, because you start to show up in a different way. You have more confidence in your step. You dress differently. You talk differently. So it's literally all a belief system. It's what are you believing about yourself? How are you showing up? So every morning, my ritual, to be honest with you, is not a ritual, it's just what I really do. It's called MVP. I meditate, I visualize, and I pray. And all three, they can collaborate together, and then some people confuse one for the other. But when I'm meditating, I'm in silence, listening to what God is putting in my heart. When I'm visualizing, I'm talking to God about the vision that I want to manifest in my life. And when I'm praying, I'm declaring it so that it is done.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you start to create a morning routine that could help transform your mindset, man, that's the key thing, because you'll see how that carries you through the day, and you're going to be just living a better life, period.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are not achieving the success that God is intending to them because they lack confidence.
100%.
What are some of the things that you can share that can help people build their confidence?
Man, let's just talk about connecting with God. Let's talk about really the simplest thing that you can do to really rebuild confidence, faith in who you are is connecting with your Creator. And I don't need to be, all religious here, but I really understand what it means when you start to seek God and when you start to seek wisdom. And I'm not telling you to become the perfect Christian and to know how to pray or no, but just show up. Be who you are. Just show up and seek God. Seek God in a simple prayer that you're asking for guidance, you're asking for understanding, and He will give that to you. There'll be Bible verses that will show up. There'll be books that will show up. There'll be a person that will say a word to you. You have to make yourself open to God's word and God's, direction in your life. And for me, there's so much mediocrity. There's so much lost of that spark in life because people have lost that connection with God. When you connect with God, man, it's like that energy plug. Boom. You're energized now. You're walking with the energy. You're walking with vision. You're walking with clarity. So for those that have lost it, man, connect with God. That's all I can tell you is just, man, whatever your spiritual path is, just connect with God. Seek God, whichever way you think that you know how to connect with God.
Yeah, and if you truly know that God has your back, there is nothing really you can't achieve.
Nothing.
If you really know that God is feeding the birds, and
It's
truly believe
beautiful.
yeah, feeding the birds, why not you?
Yes.
And you were made in His creation, and
100%.
so
And
that
in your
is
tongue, there's life and death. And you know what's so important to understand what that means? You speak life or you speak death over your circumstances. If I'm speaking worry that I can't and I don't and I want, you're putting yourself in a lack mentality and a lack state where you can't receive the blessing that God has for you. When you put yourself in that I can, I am, I will, I can do all things through Christ, now you're opening yourself up for prosperity. In your tongue, there's life and death. What are you speaking into your life?
yeah. So we touched on that, and obviously, I'm going to ask you that question a little bit later. But before I do that, for the people that do not know what that is, what is the prosperity mindset?
Man, prosperity mindset is understanding, when you think about prosperity, what are the lofty things that I think of? What are the great things that I think of? What is prosperity to me? Because what prosperity to me may not be what prosperity is to you. Like for me, my ambition is not your ambition. So, but prosperity is greatness in all things. And it's to really put yourself in the prosperity mindset is almost putting yourself in a godly mindset. It's to understand that I can do all things through Christ, that there's no challenges that come against me that I can't overcome. And it's the thing that I can prosper in anything that I put my mind and heart to do. My businesses, my relationships, everything that I put my mind and heart to do, I will and I shall prosper. Hence, Mr. Prosperity. All my brands are called PG. That's Prosperity Group. However, it's also Paola, my wife's name, and Gilberto, my name. And it's also Praise God.
I know about the first two. I didn't know about the third.
Yes. So everybody's always like, what's PG mean? I said, you can, give it many meanings. To us, it's Prosperity Group is the legal name of it. Paola and Gilberto are the creators, and praise God for what he's given us to really achieve and to take to another level.
Yeah. It's also, that was actually my second question because I'm going to come back to it. I wanted to ask you about Mr. Prosperity, but it's awesome that obviously you have those like levels of like meaning behind all of it.
Yes.
So people always asking me, why red? Why did you choose red? Why are you wearing red all the time? So my levels of
Right.
meaning behind those is first is blood is red.
Right.
So that means I'm always covered under the blood of Christ.
Amen. Amen.
So
I
that's
love
like
that.
my first one. Second one is I'm originally from Haiti, born and raised. So red is part of the flag, and red is part of the American flag.
Right.
Flag. I'm Haitian. I'm American. So identity wise, so I'm kind of part of those
Very
two
cool.
culture. The third one is red is the color of passion. Passion. I'm super passionate about storytelling and doing all the other stuff. The vibrancy, of it. So those are the meanings that
And
I've
fire.
associated. And fire. That's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Because it's fire, baby.
Let's
go.
That's it.
Let's
That's
go.
it.
So those are the
I
meanings.
love
So
it,
that's
man.
kind of cool that
Super
you have.
cool for you as well. No, I love
Yeah,
that. And that,
yeah.
and you need to have an identity. You need to have a brand identity.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Prosperity. For many years, I was like, okay, so do I just stick with Mr. Prosperity? But it's something that everybody started calling me. And it's something that I automatically preach and teach. So it stuck with me people have been calling me Mr. Prosperity for now like 15 years. So when social media came on, it was just easy for me to say, the Mr. Prosperity. And now it's stuck as my brand and everything that we do. So it's Luigi Leon, AKA the Mr. Prosperity. But I take that with greatness and with honor, in a sense of that is what I want people to feel. If I want to leave an impression in you, when I leave here, I want to know that I impressed in you the message of prosperity, that you can do all things through Christ, that you are great, that you are amazing. That's all I want to leave in this world. That's why I want to impact 1 billion people to transform their lives.
Boom. It's so amazing because This is my second show for today, and you are the second person that have that goal to impact 1 billion people.
Wow.
Which is like the first person that came in here that was the same goal, and you do too.
That's
kinda-
beautiful.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's confirmation, baby.
Let's go.
Get it.
So you have the Mr. Prosperity. I have That's So Fire, and also Storyseller Jet, and obviously the red glasses. How important it is to create a brand.
Today's world, branding is everything when it comes to, for people that want to impact, for content creators, for businesses. You know, think of how important, you know, branding is. You know, you think of Coca-Cola, immediately you know that logo. Pepsi, immediately you know that logo. Apple, immediately you know that logo. Microsoft, right? When they think of you, the red glasses, immediately, right? They might think of me, and they might think of the preacher that drives an exotic vehicle, you know? Like, there's certain things that go together with our brand, and you building that brand identity is very important, because that's how people recognize you. That's how people will pick you out from a crowd. That's how, if you really want to impact a billion people, you have to stand out among a billion businesses and a billion people. How do you stand out? Very important for your brand and your brand identity to be evident, and for you to really push that.
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned that this is how people pick you out of crowd.
Yeah.
I was in California at a mastermind, and there was somebody that was looking for me. I was standing out like with a bunch of different people, and he came to me later and says, "Hey, Jet, you know how I was able to find you? I started looking for red shoes."
That's it.
And then I found
That's
you
it.
by
That's
getting
cool.
your
That's
red shoes
cool.
and red glasses. Obviously, I
Right.
was in the middle of a bunch of like people, so you would not really be able to tell because, you know, high
Right.
level. But like he kind of started looking down and looking for red shoes. So that's kind
That's
of
cool.
funny. Man, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Likewise.
It's been
Likewise.
really cool. I mean, we touched on a lot of really great things. We talked about faith. We talked about prosperity. We talked about like your businesses. I feel like we could talk about all of these things for 5 more
Yes, we
hours.
could.
But obviously we don't have, you know, we'll have to have a part 2.
Yeah, man,
so
we definitely do.
I want you
Definitely
guys
do.
to tune in later to
Yes,
like, you know,
yes.
get a part 2. But there's a few questions that I always ask
Yeah.
people at the end of the show. The very first one is, if you had to go back to day one, what advice would you, like day one when you hit rock bottom, day one when you first started your business, whatever that day one is for you, if you had to go back to day one, what advice would you have given to your younger self?
Wow. It's funny because I've been asked this before, and it's one of those questions that I don't regret anything, and I think that everything in my life happened the way it happened to take me to where I am today. I look back, and the only thing that I could have told myself from day one, we go back to that wisdom, right? To really seek godly wisdom once financial prosperity hits your bank. You know, that would have been, if I could go back and just say one thing to Luigi, it said, you know, it's like gain financial wisdom, you know, on all the financial abundance that God's about to give you, because I didn't have that. And when money comes very easily, it goes out the same way. And I'm talking about in that era, we created millions of dollars in income that today could have been invested and would have turned into many more. But I didn't have the wisdom. All I knew was how to spend. It was me thinking I was investing, but I was really spending because I wasn't doing it wisely, right? And if I could say just one thing, was gain financial wisdom, because once you do that, man, you'll be good.
Yeah, man, I feel like God is trying to tell somebody something today, because this is the second time. The show before that too, we talked about wisdom, and we talked about proverb. How there is like, I think like we talked about like there's 31
That's the
chapters
book for entrepreneurs, by the way.
Yeah.
Like if you want to understand how maybe can I get into the Bible, you've never read the Bible before, you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, get the book of Proverbs. Just start there. Just to start getting your feet wet, right? And get that wisdom, because it is Very powerful. Then you can go back to Genesis and read everything else that you want, if you desire to do that. Book of Matthew is very important, but Proverbs is the book of wisdom, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, about a few weeks ago, I was reading Proverb 2, and it kind of like gave me, I guess, like an idea to. I'm gonna probably like spend some time to kind of reread it, read the whole book. But Myron Golden said something that if you truly want to be successful, and I actually was listening to that this morning, you have to understand the principles and laws that God has created for your success.
That's right.
And I feel like Proverb is going to be a really good book that showcases a lot of those principles and laws.
Very important.
And yeah, so that kind of reminded me of that. So I guess I don't even need to answer the second question because you kind of already answered it. The second question is, if you had to go back to day one, what is one thing you would have done differently? But you already said that.
I literally don't think anything. I love the journey that God took me and has taken me through. I mean, I'm just 47 years young. I feel like I'm still just starting to live. I don't see age as a limit in any way, shape, or form because trust me, I can hang and be stronger than any 21-year-old right now. There's very few 20-year-olds that can hang with me, if you know what I mean. All right. and it's all because of purpose. And when you have a purpose-driven life, man, there's no barriers. There's no walls. It's just you're walking in your purpose and you're doing everything God's called you to do every single day. And I declare and I ask God, give me 100+ years on this earth that I can impact, because it's all about impacting. I want to be useful. I want to transform people's lives and teach people that they can literally live their dream life. I'm an example. I'm a testimony. Every test in my life has turned into a testimony, every mess into a message. And this is why I stand here today sharing the gifts that God's given me.
Boom. Every mess into a message. Love
Amen.
it. You just mentioned about finding your purpose. How do people find their purpose in life?
Again, I'll go back to only your creator can help you identify that, right? And I feel that people are trying to do things or live a life or seek purpose in the wrong areas. Once you connect with God and once you really understand your giftings, like we all have different gifts, we all have different talents, and it's really starting to understand who God created you to be, who the creator made you to be, because in the same family, you can see that siblings are completely different, opposites from each other, because we were never meant to be the same. I have my individuality. I have my own purpose. I have my own journey to walk. You walk your journey. My dreams God gave to me. You're not supposed to necessarily root for me and believe in my dreams, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, how's that going to happen for you? Whatever. That's not your dream to dream. That's my dream to dream. Let me manifest it. Let me, with God, live my own journey. So for me, a purpose-driven life, which is a book about that, and that could literally help you a lot if you really want to identify a really good book to get. A purpose-driven life is an awesome book, and it will teach you that it's not about you. It teaches you about how to be selfless and to allow to yourself be a vessel and understand that everything you do has a purpose. And as you impact more and more people in your life, God's going to give you more and more and more. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you serve, the more you get, period.
Yeah. That leads me to my third question, because you kind of already touched on that, but I'm hoping that's a different answer than that one. But what is the biggest lesson that can be from a book, that can be from a mentor, that can be from like a podcast? What is the biggest lessons that you've gained over your entrepreneurial journey that has resulted in more success, I guess?
Okay, so I'll say something that really changed my life. So I went to Bible college as well. One of the things that I haven't, there's so many things and aspects of my life, but I did do Bible college and became a youth pastor. I was preaching in seminars. I sang Christian music. I did a lot of cool stuff when it came to ministry. And one day I felt God speak to my heart and said that my gifts and my ministry was not meant to be in four walls. and it was meant to be in the marketplace, in the world. And me being in ministry, I started searching, for entrepreneurship conferences or books, entrepreneur books or businesses. And I got connected with a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor. And for those that don't know who Bob Proctor is, I don't know if you guys seen the movie The Secret. He was like the main person talking about mindset and shift and everything. And I remember going to one of his seminars called The Science of Getting Rich, which is a weird name. As a Christian, I was like, oh, that's kind of like a lofty, kind of crazy or whatever, like the science of getting rich, right? But everything he taught about was biblical. Everything he taught about in that seminar was literally about how to apply all the things that I learned in theology and in church, and how to apply them in life and in business and in relationships, and how to shift my paradigm, how to create vision, how all these things, all these lessons that I teach today, the grand majority come from what Bob Proctor taught me. And so I always tell people, Jesus Christ and Bob Proctor, those are my two mentors. Those are the two people that transformed my life. Jesus Christ in my spirituality, and Bob Proctor in my business and the laws of life. And what I was able to understand that, when I was able to understand that God wants me to be prosperous, successful, wealthy, rich, because how else can I impact the world if I don't have anything to give? How can I impact people if I don't have literally anything to impact the world with? And I said, so God wants me to be wealthy. God wants me rich. So it's changing that paradigm from going to that, oh, I'm going to live a meek and humble life. I shouldn't dream too much because that's not godly, to no. I should dream as big as I possibly can, because that is godly. When I downplay God's blessing in my life, that's sin. What's sin? Downplaying what God has put in your heart to achieve. Walk in victory every single day, and you'll see how God will manifest everything you want in your life.
Yeah. You just kind of reminded me of something that that had made like a huge impact on me. And like, as soon as you said that, it just like bling in my mind. It was a message that my former, like still great friends, mentor, former pastor, when I used to live in Ohio, taught me. It's like, if your dream is not big enough, that means it's not from God.
That's right.
So when you said that, it just like reminded me about like, those like moment of dreaming bigger, dream bigger. If your dream is not big enough, it's not from God.
Amen. I really believe that as well.
Yeah. What do you hope your legacy to be?
Man, my legacy that I want to leave implant, especially when I think of my children, right? And what is the image that I want my children to have of me in particular? And it's a resilient man, a godly man, a faithful man. A man that taught faith, that walked in faith and is faith. And everything that has been delivered in my life, whether it be through my children, my family, my relationships, my businesses, everything has derived from faith. And faith in God Almighty, and the gifting that He's given me. And I literally want to be a legacy of impact for prosperity. A man that really achieved his ultimate life and taught others to do the same. That's the legacy I want to leave.
Boom. I love it. Now, for anybody that wants to get a hold of you, to learn about your life and mindset coaching, to learn about the compound, to learn about PG Lux, to learn about all of the gazillion businesses that you are running, how can they get a hold of you?
So Instagram is one of my main platforms that I use, and I'm the Mr. Prosperity. That's THEMR.prosperity. You'll find me on Instagram. It's literally the main platform that we use. Through there, we're going to be throwing a lot of information with the new coaching programs that we're now creating. We have a Discord community, a school community. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're putting out, a lot of speaking engagements that I'm invited to that I'll put out there as well. But that is our main platform. We do have YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. You can find us on all the platforms, but Instagram is the main one that I interact with. So you can reach me there, DM me, and I would love to connect with you.
If you had to leave the audience with one thing today, what is your parting advice?
You can do all things. You can do all things. There's no limits in this world. No limits. You can achieve anything your heart desires. Put faith and God behind it, and I promise you, you will live your dream life.
Boom. Mic drop. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Amen.
Boom. All right. Mr. Prosperity, such a pleasure having you on the show, man.
Thank you, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you so
you.
much for coming
Appreciate
and sharing your faith. It's always a great show when I get to geek out a little bit and talking about faith.
That's awesome.
You know, sharing with other people, because I truly believe that this platform is a gift from God, and for me to help
is.
propel the message forward.
Amen.
As well. So it's great to kind of be able to share a little bit about business and a little bit about faith today.
No, I love
so
it.
thank you,
Thank you.
so much for coming and sharing, and for everybody that is going to be watching that, whether it's like 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 50 years from now on YouTube.
Yes.
He's going to live to be over 100. So definitely reach out to him on Instagram.
Amen.
Instagram is
Yes.
still going to
Hit me
be
up.
here as well. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Definitely make sure you visit him on Instagram at the Mr. Prosperity on Instagram, and make sure you follow him. Let's go, baby.
Let's
Make it a fantastic day, okay?
Much love. God bless.
That's so
Let's get
fire,
it.
baby. Let's go.
Thank you, buddy.